Simple fixes to make your Wi-Fi, your home Wi-Fi much better. So here's our presentation outline. First, we'll be talking about placing your router, then Wi-Fi mesh systems, Wi-Fi extenders, and then replacing your antenna. So number one, placing your router. What is a router? A router is responsible for distributing internet connection to your devices, and is not to be confused with a modem, which connects your home network to the internet service provider. So to break that down, a router is the device that's giving all of your devices internet, for example, your phone. And a modem is getting that internet basically from the provider. Let's say AT&T. I think you guys have Telus in Canada, so that's just an example. A modem gets that internet, and then a router distributes that internet everywhere. So why is router placement important? Routers function by maintaining local traffic through something called data packets sent by devices. These packets can easily be intercepted by thick walls, interference from other devices, furniture, long distance. So basically, routers send out these data packets, but they can be obstructed by a large variety of things, including walls. Walls and just anything that actually like physically obstructing it, like brick, a lot of those things, even furniture, like it says here, those could obstruct that signal. So here's the ideal router placement if you only have one router. You place the router centrally in your home and keep it elevated somewhere above all the walls and other things. And ensure there's a line of sight to main usage areas. So let's say you're sitting in the living room, for example. You keep it on a shelf in the living room. So if you work a lot in the living room, you watch TV, you can see it. It's in your line of sight and it's not being obstructed by anything significant. That's going to improve your internet connection in that area. So number two, Wi-Fi mesh systems. So what are Wi-Fi mesh systems? It's basically a wireless network which uses multiple nodes to create a seamless Wi-Fi network with no dead zones. So what that means is basically, instead of having one router that's routing internet everywhere, you have these things called nodes, and those nodes kind of extend the internet connection. It uses the main router connected to the modem with additional nodes that relay the signal throughout your entire home. So there is a main router still that didn't disappear, but there's also additional nodes. So Wi-Fi mesh systems versus routers. There's larger, more spacious rooms. It's four larger, more spacious rooms with many closed-off rooms and doors. However, they tend to be more costly. Smaller or open space-oriented houses may prefer a central router for their Wi-Fi. Of course, central routers are always going to be cheaper. If you only have one router, that's going to be cheaper than having another router, but then also nodes spread out across your home. So next is optimization. A typical Wi-Fi mesh system can cover from 2,000 to 5,500 square feet. The average home size in NA is 2,000 to 2,500. Most homeowners would likely go for a traditional router. However, if you have a pretty big home, especially pushing that 5,500 limit, a really large home, then you might want to have nodes and a mesh system. So Wi-Fi extenders, what are they? On the contrary to Wi-Fi mesh systems, Wi-Fi extenders are systems which simply extend your Wi-Fi. In result, the Wi-Fi quality will be slower as it is the same. It's spread across multiple rooms. So how do they work? Most Wi-Fi extenders are wireless. They rebroadcast the Wi-Fi signal emitted from the main router. So basically, you have the router, and then you have this extender. The extender is not really channeling that Wi-Fi. It's just taking the Wi-Fi and then redistributing it, making the range a bit wider. So even if you have bad speed, it's not going to fix the bad speed. It's just going to make that bad speed reach further, if you understand. Wi-Fi extender should be placed halfway between the router and the poor signal zone. Replacing your antenna. So replacing your antenna should be only done if your router has removable antennas. You're trying to remove or improve signal in a specific direction, or you want a budget-friendly and simple hardware upgrade. Is this the point where Gabriel's supposed to step in?
This is where the error is. This is not a Wi-Fi antenna. This is a TV VHS antenna. So why don't you finish? And
Okay.
I'll do it at the end.
Okay. So what does replacing do? It
This is
replacing your
the same
antenna
thing.
grants boosted signal strength, of course. It can also
Forget it.
extend range.
This is the same. So one more page.
Okay.
Extend.
I guess this is just the video, so I guess we're done. Would you like to speak before or after the video?
Why don't you go ahead before, Gabriel?
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, but host disabled participant screen. So can you enable it? Thank you. No, not enabled. Tristan?
Gabriel, I just made you a co-host, so hopefully you should have the screen share.
Okay, let's see. Wonderful. Okay, so okay, so this is not what I want. Okay, yeah, I'll start with this. I guess you guys recognize a router antenna, that little stick. Some of them have 3 of them. I'll quickly do okay, router, Wi-Fi. Okay, you guys recognize this type of thing, right? This is the typical router with 4 antennas. Some of them come with 1 antenna, some with 6. Now, the point is that the signal from an antenna is spread horizontally. So, and you have different gain antennas. The regular is what comes standard with the unit. When you want a higher gain, you have to pay for it. What that does is it narrows the beam, but makes it longer. So if you have a very long house and you get a high gain antenna, you can reach the extent of the house. The problem is when you have 2 floors and maybe sometimes even a basement. Now, what happens then is this. You want to tilt one of the antennas at an angle to reach the upper floor and the basement. And sometimes, actually most of the time, replacing the antenna with a higher gain doesn't do anything. If you just tilt the antenna, you'll reach the same result. Basically, that's it. The placement, like Rogav said, and a router has to be in the central part of the house so that it can transmit everywhere, except that it will not compensate for floors. So for the floors, you have to tilt the antennas. I want to see if I have another example here. I don't. Basically, the pattern of transmission of an antenna is like a pancake. You see here? Okay, actually a regular antenna is like a donut, and a high gain is like a bagel. Well, there was a hole in the middle, and that's it. I hope I'm finished. This is basically it. So you just get a higher gain. You unscrew the old one, screw in the new one. Most of the time, it's not worth the money. Just place the router in the middle, tilt the antenna, and you're done. One more thing which was not mentioned is Wi-Fi has interference. And what interferes with Wi-Fi? For instance, Bluetooth devices work on the same frequency as Wi-Fi, 2.4 gigahertz. Some phones and Wi-Fi system can work on 5 gigahertz. So you better switch to a 5 gigahertz to avoid congestion in the 2.4 gigahertz band. 5 gigahertz is faster, but it has a lesser range. So if you want range and you have no obstacles in the house, you go with 2.4. If you have obstacles, you may need a repeater. What else interferes? Oh yeah, microwaves. Microwaves also are 2.4 gigahertz, but they're shielded, so they interfere less with the signal.
Thanks for listening. If you'd like to learn this with the Cyber Seniors Mentor, visit the Cyber Seniors website, or you can alternatively call 1-844-217-3057 to register for a one-on-one phone session. We also host weekly tech drop-ins from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursdays.